We have big news. We have exciting news for you. Tell them what it is, Serena.
We are super excited to announce that we are starting our first membership this January 2024.
Yay! Membership.
So we're excited to let you know that we will be hosting a monthly membership where when you join, you will be
with us live in a Zoom room once a month for a workshop like we just hosted. It's going to be a workshop like that, one topic each month, a different topic. You might even help us come up with the following month's topic from inside our membership. Super excited to meet you. It was so fun meeting a few of you in our inaugural workshop. So we're really looking forward to that.
And when you are a member, you will also be receiving a monthly newsletter where I'm going to be a little more intimate and I'll be sharing the things that are working and the things that aren't working for me.
Yeah, like taking a tool that you've learned from the podcast and how you're implementing it and how well that worked, or maybe if it didn't work. And then Amma can put in my 2 bits worth. We'll see how that goes. But a membership newsletter and a membership live Zoom room workshop starting in January 2024. Can sign up through our Patreon link in the show notes, yeah?
Yes, everything will be in the show notes, and we can't wait to see you there, listeners.
We can't wait. Yay!
But mother will be doing the delivery and mother will be doing all the work. So it is important to have a birth plan to let your birthing team know what is important to you and what you intend to, how you intend to have your birthing experience.
Hi, my name is Serena. I am a mother to a toddler and currently pregnant.
And hi, I'm Lisa, also known as the singing Amma. Amma means grandmother in Icelandic. I am a mama and an Amma.
At the beginning of my first pregnancy, I felt like I was lacking my village, which is why we are here creating a village with you, in hopes that you won't feel as isolated as I did.
I also felt the lack of a village in my early parenting years way back when. And I come to our village with a background in early childhood education. I have been coaching parents along their parenting journeys and supporting them for over 35 years.
Amma, Lisa, and I invite you to grab your latte
or your tea
and come sit around the proverbial fire with us each week,
when we come together to have a conversation where we'll be talking all things parenting, keeping it real, keeping it raw, right here with you.
Hey Village, so we're back with another episode featuring midwife Sharon. We're so happy to have her here with us sharing all her knowledge, and this week we'll be talking about birth plans. So hope you enjoy. Thanks for joining us.
Today I just want to talk about why a birth plan is important. Oftentimes we refer to someone as having delivered a baby, but we want to make sure that it's clear that the only person that ever delivers the baby is the mother.
Yes.
Other people in the room, be it a midwife or a doctor, can catch the baby, but mother will be doing the delivery and mother will be doing all the work. So it is important to have a birth plan to let your birthing team know what is important to you and what you intend to, how you intend to have your birthing experience.
Yeah.
One of the things that's very important in a birth plan is that it be kept very short. And the reason for that is when you go into a hospital, they are not going to take time to read a 7-page birth plan. Trust me, they will not. It also needs to be without being very wordy. All right. Mm-hmm. So instead of saying, I really hope that I'm going to be able to eat in labor if everything is okay, you say, I will be eating when needed in labor, period. Instead of saying, I would prefer not to have an episiotomy unless it's really necessary, you are instead on your birth plan, you simply put no episiotomy, no induction, no epidural, whatever you don't want. If you change your mind, that's okay. You can have an epidural or episiotomy or anything you want if you change your mind, but decide what you want and leave it open to change. The bottom of that list of no's, you can put, I will let you know if I change my mind or something somewhat like that. But we waste a lot of words. You don't need to put on your birth plan, your husband will be with you. He'll be with you. You can just start your birth plan at the top with your name, your partner's name, and your labor coach's name if you have a labor coach, and go from there. Put your due date underneath it. It makes it fast for them to look up your records. And then just put whatever you want. First of all, put what you like. In labor, I will be using music. I will be moving. I will be dancing. I will be whatever is important to you. I will be soaking in the tub or whatever comes up for you. I will be eating. And then put what you don't want. I do not want an episiotomy, induction, whatever. And then at the bottom of your birth plan, if you're feeling uncomfortable, you can always put this is all open to change. Because what happens when we go in the hospital with our birth plan is we're afraid that they're going to reject it. They can't reject it. It's your birth. I'm going to ask again, who is delivering the baby?
Mm-hmm.
You are.
Mama.
So do it your way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's very empowering. And when I had my first baby, I felt like I was stepping on toes if I gave out my birth plan. And I had set up a 2-page birth plan, and now my husband always makes fun of me. But once we got to the hospital, I made copies for several people to read it. And once we got to the hospital, he was like, "Should I give out your birth plan now?" I'm like, "No."
Oh dear. Well, first of all, it was too long.
Yeah.
So keep it short. A half a page should do it. And then take copies in with you and post them. Take a bit of Scotch tape and just tape it on the door, tape it on your bathroom door, tape it wherever, tape it on the monitor.
Mm-hmm.
Into the bed.
But one of the things that we kind of didn't really talk about was monitoring. During labor, it's really easy for me as a nurse to put those monitoring straps on you and leave them there. Because then I can go out to the desk and I can watch on a monitor how your baby's doing. And I don't really need to pay close attention. I can get other work done. But for you, it keeps you tied to a machine, and it also keeps you in bed. You do not need constant monitoring. What you want to put down on your birth plan is called intermittent monitoring. You also are capable of having the monitoring done by a handheld device called a Doppler instead of putting on the straps. Because when you put on the straps, they're going to put you in bed for 20 minutes. When you're handheld, they'll only listen for about 3 or 4 minutes. It's a lot better. You could get up and move. And I can listen to I have listened to a heartbeat walking. I just want to hear in between contractions, what am I listening for? I know that during the contraction, the baby's heartbeat is going to go down because they're pressured and there's the oxygen supply is a little bit less. I am listening after the contraction to see how quickly does that heartbeat come back up. If it comes right back up, we're fine. If it stays down, then I might want to go ahead and put the straps on and monitor you for a longer period of time to see if there's a pattern happening. Okay, so that's really important that intermittent monitoring might be something you might want to put on your birth plan. It's totally individual. It's all about what you want for your birth experience and your baby's birth experience. You might want to address what you might want at the birth. Perhaps you'd like dim lights for your baby. Perhaps you feel the need to tell them that you will be putting your hand down there to feel the baby's head. Perhaps you feel the need to say that you want your baby put skin to skin right away, or not removed from your body at all. Because remember, your baby does not know it is different than your body. So to separate the baby from mother is not a great thing. Did you have a birth plan, Lisa?
I don't think so. I can't remember having one.
The first birth I ever did was certainly not planned. I was a teacher. I was teaching prenatal. And one of the things that I teach in prenatal is birth plans. And I had this incredibly wonderful British woman who I was teaching, who put her birth plan together and took it into the doctor. And the doctor said, oh yeah, this is all fine, right? Just remember, doctors are not with you in labor. Doesn't matter how close you are, they're not going to be there. You're going to be dealing with nurses, okay? So she then took the birth plan to the hospital and said to the nurses, this is my birth plan. And the nurses said, well, this will not do. And we're the ones who decide I don't care what your doctor said, but we're the ones who decide what goes on in labor. And that's when she ended up in tears at my house and said, I'm having my baby at home and you are going to deliver it. I'm like, oh no, I'm not a doctor. I don't deliver babies. And that was the first birth I ever did, which was ABC, out of the books.
The episode where we speak about what the baby goes through labor and then all the interventions that happen to the baby after they come out and
Right.
the separation and the bathing and
those things should be on your birth plan too. You can just put on the birth plan, please no bathing of the baby. I will bathe the baby myself. Baby not to be removed from the room, whatever, however you want to word it, whatever is important to you, put it down, keep it short.
Mm-hmm. And if something happens during the labor or after the birth that the doctors need to intervene, then they will talk to you and say, this needs to happen now. And you know, right, Sharon?
Well, and yeah, that's true. And the nice thing about that is that if you already said no and they're put in a position where they have to talk to you, nothing can be done with you nothing can be done without you signing a paper. So do not go into the hospital, immediately sign away papers, wait till you need it, I mean, if you need a C-section, then you need a C-section. And they're vital. They save lives. 5% of births need C-sections. I know that we've got a 25% stupid rate of C-sections, but that's not true. What creates C-sections? We can talk about inductions and how they're done way too soon. And I see the thing is that our hospital systems in America are mysteries to most people. They don't understand how they work. For instance, when I work in a hospital where the anesthesiologist is on call, that means I'm not going to get an epidural right away. It's going to take an hour. Or she's on call and she's been at the hospital for 12 hours and she wants to go home and you're only 2 centimeters, but she could give you the epidural now and go home. That's going to slow down your labor and it could stop it. So you have to be aware of it.
Like for me, when I go into a hospital, it's just very intimidating. And they use lingo and you don't know anything that's going on behind the scenes. You're in your room and
most people do not know that their doctor's not going to be with them in labor. Most people are not aware of that. You're not going to have your doctor with you. You're not going to get an epidural the minute you ask for it. That's not going to happen. Rarely does that happen unless you've got a huge hospital that has an in-house anesthetist. Otherwise, that's not going to happen. So realistic thoughts. And another thing about going into the hospital, we all have a little bit of white coat apprehension. That's normal. What I suggest to people is when they get to the hospital, if they're not in hard labor, if they can walk and talk still, to take a little walk around the block or something before you go in. Just get yourself calm, get yourself ready to enter, know that you're going to go in, admit to yourself that it's intimidating, and just go in. And also another thing that people don't realize is that once they get there, there's all kinds of stuff that seems really fast because we have to get papers filled out, permission slips signed. We have to do a vag check. We've got to do a check on the baby. We've got to do all these things in X amount of time. And so that puts pressure on the laboring woman Who doesn't want to be messed with, right?
Yeah.
So just take a walk, take a moment when you go in to just do your breathing and calm down. And people that at this point, people should be practicing relaxation as well as, the breathing is going to come. When you take a hike, when you climb a mountain, if you pay attention, you'll see your breath changes automatically with need. So you can trust your body. And that, I think that would show people a lot. If you do something strenuous, climb straight up a hill. What I used to do to teach breathing is my house in Hawaii was on a hill like this. You've been there, Lisa, straight up and down. When I teach breathing, we all go out to the street. I lived on a dead-end street, luckily. And my neighbors thought, of course, my neighbors knew what I was doing, but they did think I was crazy. So I would just say, okay, we're going to climb to the top of this road. And it was about, let's see, we each had an acre and it was 3 houses. So it was a good climb and it's pretty straight up. Like, okay, let's go. Take a big cleansing breath and let's climb. And then I would stop them a little ways and I'd just say, pay attention to your breathing, what's going on. And then we'd get all the way to the top and they'd be huffing and puffing. And I'd go, what is your breathing doing? And we're going, because we're working. And that is a one way to see for yourself that your breath will change with the work that you do.
Yeah. And I think it's important if you have a doula or if it's just going to be your husband that's going to be there with you, that they understand the breathing, the techniques, and understand everything that's on your birth plan so they can help advocate for you because you're busy. And in that moment, you're in your
Right.
body and they need to advocate and make sure that there is peace. And if you're breathing, to help you focus on your breathing, make sure there's not too much chaos going around and too much noise, or if your nurse is yelling and telling you to push, right?
Yeah, or interference. I've seen nurses walk right in and ask a woman in a contraction a question.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, she's in the middle of a contraction. I mean, and that's what the labor coach can do. Like, she's in the middle, she's having a contraction. You got to focus on that contraction. You don't want distraction.
Yeah.
Distraction is damaging.
Yeah. And it's empowering to know that you're the one doing the work. You're the one, even if you have insurance, you're the one that's paying them to be there.
That's right.
To guard your baby and to help everything go smoothly. So don't be embarrassed and let them know what you want, right?
Yeah, get real clear in your own head and your own strength. It takes a lot of strength to go through labor, and it takes an enormous strength to be a mother. And one of the things that we learn being mothers is to be assertive. So your first lesson is with labor, with your birth plan. Be assertive. Put on your birth plan whatever you want, knowing that you can change anytime, anything throughout your labor, and that you will be delivering the baby. Whoever is on the other end will be catching the baby so it doesn't fall on the floor, but you are the one who is delivering the baby.
Even if your birth plan says no epidural, which I know I've heard a lot of women say that they want to try to do it without an epidural. But if it comes to that, like you said, everything can change and it's okay. It's fine.
That's
if
right.
Changes.
It's important that women know that there's no shame in labor. You can do it your way, no matter what that way is. And if you put down no epidural and you change your mind, that's totally okay. So when you're doing a birth plan, you don't want to put down, I don't want an epidural unless it's completely necessary. I don't want an induction unless it's completely necessary, because I guarantee you everything the medical people do think it's necessary. But you can put that down as no epidural, period. And then if you change your mind, you change your mind, and it's okay. You're paying these guys. You can get whatever you want. It's your birth. The thing I tell first-time mothers often is, this is your birth. And I am an example, and Lisa, you are also an example of two women that only had one baby. So I often tell women, this is your birth, and there is no guarantee that you will have more than one baby. So make it the best you can. Make it how you want it to be in your heart.
If you don't like your nurse, you can ask for a different nurse. It's
you can
your
ask for a different
experience.
nurse.
Oh, yeah, that's good to bring that back up. Tell us of that again, Sharon. I think that was when we weren't recording.
Yeah, it's real easy to get in a different nurse if you're uncomfortable with the nurse for whatever reason. You don't have to explain yourself nor give a reason. Every shift in every hospital has a head nurse. In other words, there's a group of nurses that work, and one of them each day is a head nurse. That head nurse she runs the show for that shift. You just ask to speak with the head nurse, or your coach will ask to speak with the head nurse, and you simply request a nurse change, and it will happen. No explanation is needed.
That's really cool to know that, right?
And yeah, most nurses are wonderful, but once in a while, somebody will go in and the personalities clash. And there's no reason not to change nurses at that point.
With my experience with rheumatoid arthritis, I've been hospitalized a few times. And I always say, I go in for a lengthy hospitalization usually. And I have told many people many times, there always is one battle axe. This mean, she should have retired 5 years ago kind of nurse. So you don't want one of those during your labor. It might just be a personality thing. She might just be having a bad day. Like, who knows? And so I love the part about you don't need to give any reasons. You just need to say, for reasons I'd rather not say, I'm requesting a new nurse, a different nurse.
A nurse change. Yeah. Yeah.
And one thing I thought of when you were telling us that, Sharon, was that's a great thing to do if you are able to still walk around when you get to the hospital. Have a little walk down the hallway and suss out where the nursing station is compared to where, your room. And just
let's go back to if you can walk around. Yeah, you can walk around.
Well, I mean, if you're that early in labor,
I mean, that's exactly what I mean. You can walk around. And if you can't walk around, then get up, lean over on something and rock. Just rock back and forth. But movement is important anytime in labor. Obviously, when you're ready to push, you're probably not going to want to be walking around. But I don't know. We've done births like that. So I want to say something to people really quickly that are planning home births. When you do your home birth, people also need a birth plan, because a birth plan is not just for those that are with you. The birth plan is also for the mother to clarify, to think seriously, and to truly clarify what she would like for her experience. Those of you having your babies at home, I always use the example of the woman who had the perfect corner set up with their candles and her music, and then squatted on the kitchen floor and had her baby. Best laid plans do often go astray. Okay. As for hospital births, if you're having a hospital birth, I often always tell people, take things in that are connected to your heart, a photograph, a flower, whatever you need. I've had people come in and plaster the walls with pictures and hang hangings, cloth hangings. That's okay. That's okay. It's your birth.
I used to bring a sarong in and lay it over my bed like a bedspread. And then if it was too hot in the hospital, I could use it as a light cover, but it also differentiated my space from all the other beds in the
That
room,
is a really good point. That's a good point. Sarongs is something that Hawaiians often always bring in because, well, first of all, it's our clothes. We dress, these things are our dresses, right? We dress in these things. We just tie them around here and that's our clothes. So for one thing, that's real easy to get in and out of the shower or take a walk down the hall. You do not have to wear the little hospital outfit. You don't have to wear that. There's no law that says that's what you have to wear. Wear your own clothes. It's your birth. It's
Yeah.
your birth, ladies.
And with the hospital gown, it doesn't open in the front, it opens in the back. So if you want that skin to skin right after birth.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a good point, Serena. That's a really good point.
In
And there's two ways to do it. You can wear your own clothes, or you can put them on backwards. You can put one on this way and tie it in the front. And then you can put another one for privacy. Put your arms through another one for privacy, have it tied in the back during labor. And then when you start to push, take the top one off. But we've done lots of births with people that just come in their own clothes. There's nothing wrong with it. You don't have to change into a hospital gown.
How about getting naked at delivery time when you're
ready
to push?
How about it?
Right.
Depends on the climate, I suppose. But yeah, a home birth, most people are naked in home births. Because we take the babies, we just hold them while the mom reaches down to take them. And then we together, the mom and the midwife, we bring the babies up to the chest. So they usually are naked.
Yeah,
then we put cover for warmth. The baby needs to stay warm at birth. The baby cannot drop its temperature. That's vital. And so you can take what we used to do is just toss the receiving blanket over the baby. But skin to skin, baby and mama, really important for bonding and breastfeeding. Yeah.
There's just one last thing I wanted to mention, because for me, this was one of the most intimidating things when I was getting ready to give birth, was thinking that all the residents were going to be in the room watching me give birth. And I did not want anybody else except who needed to be there. And I put that on my birth plan. And thankfully, due to COVID, because I didn't know you had a right to not let anybody else in. I thought if the residents had to come in and study and learn, that they had to come in and study and learn. But since I was giving birth during the pandemic, it was very restricted. So,
well, I think that's such a good point. And one of the things that people need to know is that if more people, if they want to bring someone into the room for educational purposes, they cannot do that without asking your permission. So I think it's actually a pretty good thing to have on your birth plan, really, because then they don't have to ask you questions. Right. Your labor coach can say, oh, no, it's on the birth plan. No extra people in the room, please.
Right.
You're entitled to that.
And one other question I had was, do you have a list of things that you recommend to a woman to bring to the hospital? Sharon?
Oh, like the birth kit? Yeah.
Yeah.
Food and straw and
the straw you mentioned. Yeah.
Comfort items is what you want. Food and fluid to keep yourself going, because you don't want to have to ask for that. Number one, quality of food in most hospitals is not great. Number two, it takes time for them to go and fetch it or get somebody to go and get it. So take in what you want. Get a small cooler, take in your liquids, make sure that you take enough food for your labor coach. They're going to be tired too. Take a straw to drink with, so that your labor coach can simply hold the straw to your lips and you can take a little bit of fluid without having to be distracted, hold a glass, what have you. I just recommend everything of comfort, things that make you feel good. Do not take candles in. You cannot burn candles in a hospital. You can do that at home, but not in a hospital. It's against the fire code. It's not because nurses are mean. Yeah, birth kit. One outfit for the baby to go home in. You don't need 4 pink dresses if you're having a girl. A hat for the baby. You'll get a birthing hat for the baby, but you'll probably want something a little warmer if it's cold weather to take the baby home in. Make sure that you bring your car seat in with you. Most hospitals, at least in the United States, will check your car seat before you leave. It's mandatory that they know that it's in correctly. If you don't know how to put it in correctly, every fire department across the United States will teach you, show you, and insert it properly for you. So get some help and don't bring in a box with it. Be prepared with your car seat or it will delay your leaving of the hospital. And that's another thing. When do you want to leave the hospital? Put that on your birth plan. If you intend to leave the hospital 4 to 6 hours after you give delivery, get it on your birth plan so that they are prepared. that you will be wanting to leave. That's important. It isn't necessary if you have a normal vaginal delivery to stay in the hospital for several days. That isn't necessary at all. You're going to recoup way better at home, your own bed, your own people, your own food.
All right. So much good information.
Yes.
Thank you once again, Sharon. This has been an amazing series of such informative episodes for Serena, who's getting ready to give
I'm
birth
so excited
any minute
for you,
now.
Serena.
And for all our listeners who are either pregnant or hoping to be pregnant soon.
That was another amazing episode, and here are my takeaways. Number 1, keep it short and not too wordy. Things your support person should know should be discussed prior, and you don't need too many details on your birth plan. Number 2, everything is open to change, so be ready that your birth plan might not go as you want, but the most important thing is getting the baby out safely. Number 3, put no to keep it short and not too wordy, and if anything should change, you will get an explanation for it. And number 4 is, and this is so empowering to me and my biggest takeaway, it's your birth. You are delivering, they are catching, you are paying them. Be assertive, tell them what you want. Don't be scared to ask questions and take charge, because you never know if it's going to be your last birth experience. You might know, but it's your birth experience. So make sure you get it the way you want it, because you're in charge and it's your body going through it, and take charge of it and try to have the most pleasant experience you can. And that's my baby in the back. So thanks for joining us, and I hope you got as much knowledge as I did, and share with anybody that you think could use this. Thank you.
Thanks for being here with us in our virtual village. We'd love you to join our Facebook group at The Village Parenting Community and on Instagram at The Village Parenting Pod.
And if you enjoy our podcast, please like, subscribe, and share. Also, if you have a moment, please leave us a review. It makes a big difference for us in reaching more parents out there who may be feeling alone.
Please direct message us to connect also. We absolutely love hearing from you. And until next week, we'll be keeping it real and raw right here with you.
This podcast is sponsored by the Singing Alma's private parent coaching and workshop offerings, and also by Enlightened Designs for Crafty Mamas.